Hello, boys and girls. We're going to get started on our reading workshop for today. So, as I was reading over this lesson, I made a connection. It really reminded me of when I'm eating dinner. And I'm going to tell you why. So, when we eat dinner, I usually have maybe some chicken with some vegetables. Maybe you have a different type of meat or some veggies on the side. And I was thinking, when I eat dinner, I like to eat chicken most of the time. I have a piece of chicken on my plate. It's probably about this big, right? Sitting on my plate. When I go to eat it, do I pick it up and try to get the whole thing in my mouth in one big bite? No, I don't. Instead, what do? I cut it up into pieces that are more manageable and easier to eat. And this connects really well to what we're talking about in our reading workshop today. In our reading workshop for today, we will be learning about how to break text up into more manageable pieces so that we can better understand it. So let's get started. In this lesson, you're going to need a nonfiction book at your level. Many of you took home nonfiction books in your book bags on Friday before we went home for our online learning. If you do not have access to one of those books because you were absent, then you can use another nonfiction book at home, or you can also use Raskits. You'll also need Post-it notes. Post-it notes are really helpful for this lesson. If you don't have access to Post-it notes at home, you could create these little bookmarks. And what I did to make these was I just cut up a piece of white computer paper, and instead of sticking a Post-it note on the pages in the book, I will slide these in to the book as a little bookmark to show where I did my different stop and jots, like this. The last thing that you will need is a writing utensil. A pen or a pencil will do for this activity. All right, our teaching point for today says, today I want to teach you that readers break books apart into manageable sections to remember key details and figure out, what does the author want me to learn from this book? So today I'm going to show you how to split your book up into more manageable pieces to make sure that you really understand and can take away those important key details. Let's get started. Here's the book that we're going to be working with today in our mini lesson. It's called Meat Eating Plants, Toothless Wonders. This book was written by Ellen Lawrence. So, when we're deciding how we might like to split up our book into more manageable pieces, a great place to start is the table of contents. The table of contents gives us a really good idea of how the author organized their book and lets us know good places for us to stop and think, what do they want us to learn? So let's get started. We're going to start at the first chapter, which is called Trapped. All right. Trapped. A fly buzzing around a small plant lands on one of its red leaves. The insect doesn't know it, but it has just made a big mistake. It has landed on a plant called a Venus flytrap. Suddenly, the leaf snaps shut. The fly is now the plant's prisoner, and there is no escape. Why do you think the plant has trapped the fly? We can see here we've got the Venus flytrap leaf, and on this page, the Venus flytrap hair. This says, some of the leaves on a Venus flytrap have little hairs. These leaves act as a trap by snapping shut when something such as an insect touches the hairs. All right, so these two pages are called Trapped. This chapter is Trapped. You can see when I turn the page here, we'll be moving into our next chapter. So in Trapped, I'm going to think to myself, what is this part of the book trying to teach me? I'm breaking it down into one manageable section. What is this part trying to teach me? Well, I read about Venus flytraps and I kind of learned how they work and why they do what they do. All right, so I'm going to write down what I think. Maybe I want to give a prediction to this question, or maybe I just want to write down what I learned from this page. So what I would write down, I'm going to use one of my little strips to demonstrate how I might use this first. So, Venus flytraps
Venus flytraps catch small insects in between their leaves. Flies fly in, and the trap closes on them. I'm going to go like this, put this little note I wrote right in between the pages, and turn the page. Let's take a look at this next page. Meat-eating plants. Okay. The Venus flytrap caught the fly to get the nutrients it needs to stay healthy. Most plants don't get nutrients this way. They take them in from the soil through their roots. Some plants, however, grow in places where there are few nutrients in the soil. These plants, such as the Venus flytrap, eat insects and spiders to get nutrients. They are known as meat-eating plants. How do you think a Venus flytrap gets the nutrients it needs from an animal's body? This says grasshopper. On this page we've got a fly caught in a Venus flytrap leaf. One of the nutrients that meat-eating plants get from feeding on insects is nitrogen. Plants need nitrogen to help them grow, especially their leaves. All right, so this is another chapter. So again, I'm going to stop and I'm going to think, what did the author want me to learn from this section? Just as one small piece. This time I'm going to use a Post-it note. What did the author want me to learn? I'm going to say Venus flytraps are meat-eating plants. Venus flytraps are meat-eating plants. They get their nutrients from insects and spiders to help them grow. So I took what I read on this page and this page, and I thought, what does the author want me to learn from these two pages? I'm breaking them into a small chunk, and I'm thinking, what is the goal of this chapter? And this is what I think they were trying to teach me. So now let's turn the page and let's look at the next chapter. And this time we're going to have you guys try it out. All right, I'm going to read you the page. Goodbye, fly. Once a Venus flytrap catches a fly, the leafy trap squeezes shut. Then, the trap oozes juices that break down the soft parts of the fly's body. The juices work like the liquids that break down food in a person's stomach. As the fly becomes soft and soupy, the trap soaks up nutrients from the insect's body. After about 5 days, the trap opens back up, and all that is left of the fly is a dry shell. Venus flytraps live in the areas shown in red. They grow in places called bogs, where the ground is wet and soft. This page says, here's a fly inside of a trap. The leaves of traps of a Venus flytrap make a sweet liquid called nectar. Can you guys see that okay? There we go. Flies and other insects are attracted to the traps to eat the nectar. All right, so what I want you to do now is I want you to think about what we read on these pages. Think about what the author wanted you to take away from this chapter called Goodbye, Fly. Remember, we're not writing down everything on the page. We're trying to collect a key detail about this section. And a key detail means the most important thing that the whole part is about. Go ahead and try that out.
All right, boys and girls, it's time to get started. Make sure you have your book, your Post-it notes, and your pen ready to go. Remember, you're stopping and jotting at meaningful places in the text where you're breaking the text into smaller, easier to digest parts. Just like when you're eating dinner and you cut it up into small pieces, we're cutting up the book into pieces that are easier to understand and make it so that we can better understand the whole book. So, you will stick your Post-it notes on the pages or use your bookmarks to show. If you are using a book from school, please be sure to not tape into our books. If you are using a Post-it note, it will look something like this. If you do not have a nonfiction book at home and you're using Razkiz, it's okay to just take out a piece of paper, a blank piece of paper, and write your Stop and Jots on the piece of paper. That is totally okay as well. When you are done with your task, it is important to your teacher that you upload an example of your work. So that could be just one page showing a Stop and Jot. I do not need to see every single Stop and Jot that you did. Uploading one page like this would be perfect. You can also upload a sheet of paper with your notes or some of your bookmarks. All right, boys and girls, I hope that you enjoy your reading today. Please make sure you read at least one book for about 20 minutes, or you can read more than one book. Go ahead and get started. Have a great day. Bye.